Okay, and we are live. So, welcome to everybody who took the time to step by and join us for this author interview. I'm here with the author, David Wickenden, and we're going to talk about his work, his stories with Fedowar, and his other books that he has out there, and all that fun stuff. David is one of our contributing authors for Remnants, which is a survival horror anthology, which is out right now. You can find that. I believe the link to that is going to be in the description, as well as David's contact information. So you can always look down to the description of the video at any time if you want to go ahead and click on and check out any of these things that we're talking about while we're talking here. So, David, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, well, 31-year veteran of fire service in Sudbury, Ontario, Canada. We fight all the fires in the middle of the winter, of course, with minus 30 degree weather. So we're usually encased in ice at most of our events. But that adrenaline rush continues through my writing. I am a fan of thrillers, historical fiction, on the thriller side, of course, but I love excitement, and I'm a real adrenaline junkie, so it does definitely continue through with my writing.
Definitely. And through your story you wrote for the Remnants anthology, Weed Whacker, you can definitely feel that tone in the story itself. Now, what gave you the idea for Weed Whacker? What was kind of the emphasis behind that?
Well, I don't think that the world would instantly bow down and just allow itself to die out. I think, we're seeing it in Ukraine. They're going to fight back with everything they got. And I think mankind, that's our trait. We're going to fight back no matter what the odds. And I think that was the main gist of it all. And then, of course, being a historian, or not so much a historian, but a lover of history, I did some research and came up with a unique weapon. So the story just developed after that.
It definitely is. It's a unique take in something that I think kind of stands out on its own for its own kind of vision of way that humanity would kind of fight those things in the story, and I really enjoyed that. Mm-hmm. So tell me, what are you working on now?
Well, I've just finished my 6th novel. It's another thriller. I'm shopping it out right now to agents, hoping to catch the legendary agent. I think they're part of mythology because they're so few and far in between. If I'm not successful there, I already planned a number of different publishers I'm going to be looking at. And then if all those fails, it'll be self-publishing, which I've done in the past and have had lots of success. The story I just finished was the first one I've actually worked with a professional editor and found the process totally rewarding. If you have the right the right editor, it's a joy to work with. And I learned so much, and I look forward to handing this story to the world. The story basically follows a 95-year-old veteran. He's my main character and protagonist. He is one of the first, or was one of the first, to liberate Dachau, the Jewish concentration camp. Now, fast forwarded to today, he's dying of cancer. He's got only a few months to live, and the Jewish synagogues in his town are firebombed by neo-Nazis. Of course, inflamed or encouraged, if you want, by the preceding president. So anyhow, he takes it on himself to finish the mission he started in 1945, which was to stop the Nazis. And in a whole bunch of, it starts small, but it increasingly gets more ambitious, if you want, until he ends up calling on all his army buddies from the past. And we have one final big fight. So it's I think, an exciting story. It stemmed from the fact that I asked myself after the Charlottetown riots, where were the veterans who lost so many of their friends and their colleagues during those battles? Where were they, and where was their voice? So that's where the story originated. I took my own military past. I have about 3 years in what you would call in the States, the Army Reserve. Here in Canada, we call it the militia. And I took that experience as well as my love of history and tried to build a realistic reaction from an old fella. And I think I might have hit it. So I'm very excited about this story.
That sounds really cool. I'll be really interested to see where it goes. So definitely keep us informed.
Yeah. It'll be called The Home Front.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, I definitely I definitely want to hear how your progress goes with that.
Thank you.
So let's see here. So what other exciting things are going on in your life? Do you have in the near future?
Well, I'm sorry.
Oh, no problem.
All my books have been transcribed or adapted for film. I've taught myself screenwriting through basically online seminars and educational material. So now Homefront is coming up front. So I'm going to be knuckling down, putting that screenplay together. I am a member of the International Screenwriters Association, where my other scripts are online for the perusal, if you want, of industry experts. So I hope to get that up there, and that'll be something I'll be working on towards the summer anyhow.
That's pretty neat. I hadn't really thought about doing that, but that definitely seems like that would point you in the right direction for not only having someone pick up your story, but also helping to make sure that if your story was picked up for a feature, that you could get the right notes in there, get the right themes in there. It seems so often we have book adaptations that kind of go sideways, where people don't, the screenwriters don't quite pick up on the specific elements that the author was trying to hit in their narrative, and we kind of miss some of that stuff. So that's a really neat idea.
Exactly. I have a series that I've been working on. Book 1 and 2 are out already, and it's a vigilante that's hunting down child abusers wherever she finds them. It starts off in Canada because it deals with the weak laws that Canada has with child abuse. So that's the first book. The second book goes towards organ harvesting, which is one of the biggest growing crimes in the world right now. And I center the story in Paris, France. The third book, which I've already started, I got about 10,000 words in. My vigilante is going to Africa to deal with the child soldiers and the horrific conditions that some of these children are put under. So I did these stories in a feature movie format, if you want. But now that the third book is on its way, I'm really leaning towards a Netflix series, if you want. So I'm thinking of adapting it towards that instead of the feature film, because I think it'll play well. It's more like a female Punisher or a female Dexter, if you want.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she's using her expertise to take on the bad guys, where, you know, the justice system just cannot or will not take care of. So
That sounds very intriguing.
yeah, I'm having a blast, and it's been hugely popular for me. The first book, In Defense of Innocence, just at Christmas time sold its 1,000th book. So
Nice.
yeah, I'm super hyped about it, and I have fans that are writing me saying, when is the next Laura Moore adventure coming out? Laura Moore is the vigilante,
Mm-hmm.
very intelligent, very smart girl who was a counselor for PTSD. So she taught herself the skills while working with the people she was dealing with. So
Okay.
yeah, so that's the origins, if you want. But the fans just love it. My, you know, I've read a couple of reports that my thrillers are usually men between 30 and 60. Well, the people I'm selling to are mostly women, usually older women from 40 to 70, if you want.
Mm-hmm.
Believe it or not, and I believe it's the mother instinct. Once they hear what my story is about, they really grab hold of this thing about a vigilante killing off child abusers. You
Mm-hmm.
know, and I'm really surprised just how many of these women are buying my books, and I'm not complaining. Don't get me wrong, but it goes against all the research that I've read so far. So
Mm-hmm. No,
we'll
that's
see.
fantastic, and I can definitely see that perspective. So, do you have any other works you'd like to tell us about? You want to tell us about any of your other books?
Well, my second book that came out was it was during the ISIS era, and so um, I saw a documentary called Mothers of ISIS, and basically it was all the mothers who lost their children to the fighting in Syria, and I put myself in their footsteps and saying, like, what would I do to save my own child if they were recruited by ISIS?
Mm-hmm.
Um, so anyhow, I have a young fellow who's just lost his father. He's in grief. He's looking for answers, and he finds a Muslim community, and he joins it. And at first, everything is fantastic. I mean, Islam is not the problem, and I make that really clear in my series. Islam is a beautiful religion. It's no better or worse than any of the other world religions. There's beauty in it. There's, you know, there's negative stuff too, but so does the Catholic Church or the Protestant Church. They all have their in and outs, but it's the key core messages that they're sending are beautiful, and if they're followed rightly, there's no issue. It's the people that use it to abuse or taint the message for um, uh, their own marching band, if you want.
Mm-hmm.
So anyhow, the story came out, and so it's again, it's about a mother fighting to save her son, and it is very exciting. I think we wouldn't be having the problems in Ukraine if my story came true, because I did kill Putin in my book. I blowed the sucker up real good. Or sorry, a terrorist did. But anyhow, that here's the book, and
Okay.
so anyhow, it's I had fun writing it. Learned a lot, because these books take a lot of research if you want it to be authentic. So I had a lot of fun with that. As I mentioned, with I have the Vigilante series. Another one I started. I'm a big fan of Stephen King's Stand By Me, and
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to write a story of my old neighborhood where I grew up as a kid. all the ventures we had and everything else. I put it around 4 kids that end up being stalked by a serial killer because they got in his way, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I came up with a story in my old neighborhood. The map at the front of the book is authentic. It is, everything's in there is 1975. So it's before laptops, it's before cell phones. You just can't call or text mom for help. And this one kid has no choice but to run away from home to find out who the killer is. Otherwise, he's going to jail for the other person's crimes. And it really reflects my hometown, which is a mining town. And I was 14 in 1975, which is why I made it 1975, because my hero's 14. And of course, there's a love interest, a little bit, not too much, because I'm uncomfortable with those things. But anyhow, I had a blast. It's called Mad Dog. It was published by Black Rose Writing out of Texas, and it's been moving off the shelves fairly good.
Fantastic.
And the last one is basically, it was a change of pace, if you want. I left the world of the thrillers and I moved into fantasy. And this started through a conference. There's a fellow by the name of oh, good Lord, I got a brain fart. I can't remember his name. Anyhow, he's he teaches at Ryerson's University out of Toronto in creative writing department, and he brought a course for writing for young adults or children to our writing group here in Sudbury, and my half an hour stint into that world was the start of a new novel. And basically it's 4 young kids. They're troubled kids. They're in a juvenile camp, if you want, for misbehaving children. They get sucked up to heaven, and they find heaven's under siege by an alien race because God's not around. And so I put them on a journey across what I think heaven might look like, and they kick some ass. And they have it's a fun adventure. There's nothing mind-boggling about it. Some of the church leaders might dispute some of my vision, if you want, but all the religions are there, because there's basically all one God, if you want. So the Muslims are there, the Egyptians are there, the Norse are there. All, Valhalla is part of that heaven. So everybody's together. So these 4 kids are sent out with a troop of super warriors. So we got ninjas, we got the Moji out of Ethiopia, we have the Gurkhas out of Burma. And it's a multinational task force that goes after the only weapon that might save heaven. And it's just a fun ride across the landscape. And it's about young boys coming of age and learning about responsibility, and tons of action. And it's a thriller fantasy, put it that way. I can't get away from that thriller stuff, right? So, but yeah, that's.
And what's that one called?
That's called For Heaven's Sake.
For Heaven's Sake. Okay, fantastic. Now, I know where you're coming from with that. Some of my books are thrillers, and sometimes it's real easy to slip into that pace of storytelling, and it just grabs a hold of you, and you don't want to let go. So is that all of them?
Yeah, that's about it. I've been published in a number of literary journals and whatnot. Short stories of everything. Historical has been a big factor in my life. I love history, and I found out prior to my mom's passing, she was an Acadian. Now, a lot of people don't realize Acadians grew up, settled in Nova Scotia. They were the first true Canadians in Canada. In 1655, the British took over the island, and they weren't comfortable with the Acadians. Basically, they wanted their land and their farms, which were already developed and everything. And they basically kicked over 10,000 Acadians out of their homes and dispersed them all over the world. Some were sent through the maritime states, if you want, as slaves. They were indentured people. Some were sent to the Caribbean, some were sent to Louisiana, and the Cajuns from Louisiana originated from the Acadians. So that's where the French really comes forth in the Cajuns background. And of course, the French, Louisiana was a French colony prior. So anyhow, I traveled there last September to Nova Scotia, and I actually found one of my ancestors, which under the name of Babin, Babin, that's my grandfather's name, actually settled in Nova Scotia in 1610. And they were the first bunch of Acadians. There was 300 of them that originally settled there. So that's where I can trace my ancestry. So I'm planning, and I'm doing a ton of research for a 3-book historical series that will follow 3 different families of where they were displaced, if you want, in that era. So I'm very anxious. I've done a ton of research so far. I still have a ton more, so that I'm totally comfortable before I sit down and actually put pen to paper. So
that sounds fantastic. That sounds really interesting.
Yeah, I'm having fun reading about it anyhow. So,
and I'm sure that is going to come across in the writing. I think when we write about things that we're passionate about, I think you definitely pick that up as a reader.
I think so.
All right. Well, where can we have your contact information down in the description below. Where is the best place for readers to find you?
Excuse me. Well, of course, Amazon. I'm on Kobo. I'm on iBooks. Pretty well anywhere electronically. My printed books are on Amazon. They're all through Europe through both Amazon and Ingram. And then most of the books, except for Homegrown, and I'm hoping this summer that my producer is going to help me. He's had to take a leave because of personal reasons, but we have Homegrown all done in Audible. And we're hoping to have it finalized by the summer. But all the other books are on Audible as well. So yeah, it's exciting. And again, if I can get that screenplay punched out by the early spring or late summer, early summer, we'll have another venue that we can look at. So,
well, fantastic. Well, I want to thank you for joining me today and for telling me about yourself and sharing all the information with our viewers.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you. And once again, David's information is down in the description. I hope you guys will go down there, click a link, and check out some of his work. And David, thanks again, and you have a great day.
Thank you very much. Take care.